I'm here today, you guys, with Alexandra, okay, Klaudia, and she is a mystic, oracle, and guide, okay, who serves those who seeking to reclaim their personal power, okay, embody truth, and live in harmony with both the sacred feminine and masculine. And through channeled transmissions, heart-based teachings, and timeless wisdom, Alexandria provides guidance designed to help viewers return to a sense of wholeness, okay, remembrance, and divine love. She content Her content uh, includes channeled messages, collective energy updates, teachings on feminine and masculine embodiment, emotional alchemy, heart-centered spirituality, ancient wisdom, and sacred union. Okay, and Alexandria, you have sites on Substack, Instagram, and TikTok. Okay,
And
so
YouTube.
Oh,
And
I'm
YouTube.
sorry. My bad. Exactly. So tell us we're here to talk about the mother and the father wound. Okay, that's what we're talking about. But Alexandra, tell us what brought you to Substack, okay? And talk to us about your work.
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, thank you, Margaret, for that introduction, because I swear to God, I don't know if I would have even put it like, I mean, you did a wonderful job, truly, truly, truly. Like, I was like, wow, you do a better job than I do. I guess because I get to be so like humble and been like, I don't know, I just share my stuff. Um, so thank you. Thank you for that,
No
because that was
problem.
really on point. And I mean, it's been a journey, to be honest. It's been a journey of finding, I guess you could say, the right, or the true path, right? I've kind of been diving into many different things, exploring so many different like teachings or practices, and then ultimately when I had my dark night of the soul, I was like, oh, you guys can tap into like all this different energy work, or psychedelics, reiki, like, and I'm not bashing that, truly I'm not. Like, I understand these methods are on the path of understanding ourselves, our wounds, our traumas. um but ultimately, it's like it's always coming back to self, coming back into our heart space, where that is the fundamental truth we're all after. And that's literally the medicine, where you take it, it doesn't taste good, but it helps, like
Mm,
that's what gets you back, right? And so
okay.
that's the path that I am walking on, and I want people to come back to. It's not an easy path. It sounds easy, but it's not easy. When you have to face like your darkest shadows, your pain, your trauma, and be with it, and not use these like band-aid solutions, right? To kind of temporarily mask it. And again, like, please guys, don't get me wrong. I'm not bashing these things. I've used these things myself, right? I was
Okay.
placing because I didn't know any better, but at the same time they did help me, and they brought me to a place where I was like, let me sit with truth. Let me sit with uncomfortable truths. And that's alchemy. That's alchemy. Looking at your shit, your pain, your trauma, being with it, going through the fire, and then being like, all right, I gotta feel. And this actually does connect to our mother and father wounds, right? Because yeah, it was the stepping stone, absolutely, right? And that's why I'm saying, like, on this path, absolutely use those tools, but I've come to realization, if you want true transformation, you got to go within. You got to go back, connect with the heart, feel your shit, feel your pain. It's not comfy. It's not meant to be. It's literally going through the fire, right? And like I said, it kind of, I guess this is a good way to like connect it back to, in our way, like our original topic of like the mother and father wounds, is because like when I was going through my dark night of the soul, oh, like this is what I mean. Stuff that I thought I dealt with other people that I was working with, like a life coach and different sort of things. Oh, they all came back. Each and every single one. And I was like, wait a minute. Didn't I already process this? Didn't I already like deal with this or heal this? And it was like, sure, on a mental level, you understood where all the toxic patterning, for example, in relationships came from, right? Sure, on a mental level. And that was a very triggering thing for me back then when I was working with somebody. And she's like, oh, all these past relationships, doesn't it look familiar to your father? And I was like, how dare you? How dare you? don't, don't, it is. But to me, it was a good thing to click, to make those connections mentally, where I was like, oh, interesting that we repeat these things based off of what we have learned from our parents, right? And
Right.
society, right?
Right.
But like I said, in my dark night of the soul, I was confronted with all those things because, yeah, how dare you? um, it's true. I was, um, but in my dark night of the soul, I had to freaking feel it.
Mm.
That was the alchemy. And I literally, I remember my dark night of the soul, which, by the way, guys, it lasted 3 months. It was almost started a year ago, December of 2024 through January and February of 2025, pretty much nonstop. A wound would come up. I would have to be with it, feel it, alchemize it. Next wound. I was like, is there a break? Can I get a break? Eventually I did, but it literally smacks me in the face of like, okay, cool, you understand it. You feel it. Can you move through it? Can you feel the pain that your inner child felt? For example, when your father abandoned you, right? Or where maybe your mother wasn't there for you. Can you feel what that little child, and like I could already feel the emotions, but not from like, just because I've become so heart-centered, of that little child that had to mask it up, had to put on her brave face and pretend everything's okay, you know? And yeah, I was realizing, oh my gosh, well, this is where all this stuff, all this gunk comes from. And then especially in relationships, with all the patterns that we end up repeating, right? We'll date a different person, but essentially it almost is like the same person because we're repeating the certain patterns, right? And then we think like, either we end up thinking like, I'm never going to be in a relationship, or all men suck, or all women suck, or this and that. And it's like, ooh, stop blaming, come back into the self, alchemize, look at that stuff, feel it. And I've been making a few videos recently talking about like the inner child, and like for everyone watching and whoever watches this afterwards, connecting with your inner child is probably one of the most important things in healing these wounds, in healing the father and the mother wound. Because essentially when we get into a relation with another, we're not getting in relation with them, we're getting in relation with our father or our mother. We're looking, that inner child in us is looking to connect back to that mother or father that we never had. And then ultimately that relationship doesn't work, right? It ends up being toxic, or it dissolves, or this or that. And then we project all these things on people, and it's like, we need to heal. We need to heal before we can come into relation with another.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I'll let you have the floor a little bit because I know I went on.
No. It's okay. It's okay. Whatever you got to say it. We listening. An advocate for the spirit says we always need to send love back to ourselves as children. Love exists without time, so it's also eternal. And she also said these are those times when we never understood as it was going on. Okay.
Exactly. And I'll say this, like, I understood why I had my dark night of the soul when I did. I was actually leaving a marriage. I actually left my whole old life. My whole old life dissolved before me, right?
Okay.
And to be honest, again, I know why it happened, and I do think these things happen to people because it's almost like divine intervention. Like, it's time to course correct, especially if you keep repeating certain things, right? And I realized when I was little, and all of us, by the way, all of us when we were kids, when we were experiencing whatever we were experiencing, we had to go into those trauma responses of like freeze, fight, flight, or whatever. Like, we had to go into those trauma responses for our own survival, right?
Right.
Um, and then we had to like mask it up, and we never felt the things that we needed to feel. So that dark night of the soul for me was like, all right, it's it's time, right? And I actually lost a job then. So my job was to feel everything that my inner child didn't feel safe when she was little to feel. And I understood that, right? But
Right.
it was tough. It was like everything that she had to suppress when she was little because she had to be brave, she had to be strong, she had to move on and like carry on. I was just like, it was like ripping all those masks, all those layers open, and it's like, feel. But you know what? I've realized that is the gift that our adult selves we can give to our little child, because god damn, that little child in us never felt safe.
Mm.
That So we become the parent, the mother, the father, creating that. And I think actually that's a beautiful thing when we can feel so safe within our own selves that our little child comes out and goes, feel the grief, feel the pain, feel the rage, feel all the times where, mom or dad didn't show up for you and blah, 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 blah. And that, guys, is healing. It doesn't feel like at the time. For me, I felt like I just wanted to like not be here at all. But I knew I had to get through it, right?
Yeah.
And it's a big release after you go through something like that. And you learn to love yourself. You learn that you are worthy. And there's so much peace that comes with that, right? And then that translates, you no longer look for, I want to call it like the old template of love. So you don't even like search the same people that you used to search, because you're like, I'm secure within. I've healed these spots within myself that I don't need it from these like wounded men or women anymore, right? Like you found that within. And because life is a mirror, we end up, I guess you could say, course correcting and aligning ourselves with a person who's also on that path, or they're healed or whatever, you know? But yeah, it's tough work.
Yes. Yes. Now, what you're talking about, the nervous system patterns, it was fight, which is overachievement, proving your worth. Then you
Yeah.
had flight. The flight was disappearing or avoiding conflict. Then you have freeze, which is self-sabotage or indecision. And fawn, which is pleasing, ignoring your truth.
What was the last one? That I've never heard. Fawn?
Fawn, yeah, like a
Oh,
baby deer.
interesting. I've never heard of that one. Interesting. But no,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
yeah, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, when we talk about these wounds, and you're talking about, like, for example, with the mother, the mother is not physically or emotionally here, okay, and which that you're missing that caregiver,
Yeah.
that nurturing, cultivating uh part that a child needs. You don't get that, so this affects your entire life,
Yeah.
okay. And a lot of times that what happens, people suffer severely from people pleasing,
Mhm.
inability to receive, okay, internal self critique,
Mm.
and perfectionism. That's
Oh,
what this results from.
yep.
Okay, these things that we suffer from this mother and father womb. Okay,
Mm.
and we have an inability to trust people. Okay,
Yep.
trusting authority. We fear of vulnerability. Okay, and over functioning and over independence. Okay,
Yes. Oh,
and a lot of times we also suffer from codependency.
it's so many layered things, right? And I feel like we all operate from those wounds. Yes, some more than others in certain areas, but like honestly, we all touch on those things. Like everything that you were saying, I'm like, yeah, played in that sandbox, played in that sandbox. Right? Like especially for women, like people pleasing and making sure everyone's needs are met, and like abandoning ourselves to be loved and accepted. And again, that then translates even to like these abusive relationships where women end up, being with a man who's like not there, right? Because he has a wound of disappearing, of being avoidant, and she's trying to over like and then it's like we use all these distractions or excuses to, like say, oh no, but I'm just being loving, or the man being avoidant, like, just like, oh, I can't because I have too much on my plate. And it's like, no, we need to heal these wounds. We need to heal because we have come from generations of like trauma, of pain. And imagine the gift that you give your parents and your whole ancestral lineage when you finally say enough is enough. It ends with me, right? And I'm no longer going to use excuses or distractions to avoid my pain, right? I'm finally going to stop over pleasing people, not pouring into my cup, or avoiding these things. I'm gonna start to be brave and look at all of this in the face and alchemize it, right? Because it's interesting. Margaret, I did actually make, I think it was today, I was tapping into like the masculine collective. And again, guys, this is kind of what I do. I tap into, you could say, the energy field. Women, naturally, this is one of our strongest birthrights that a lot of us are remembering. We are very much connected to the unseen. And we're very intuitive by nature. This is also something that has been shut down, right? And I'm sure you heard this, Margaret, too. It's like, don't listen to your heart or your intuition and like, no. Our intuition is our, like, the most powerful thing within us, right? So I was tapping into the masculine collective and I was like, wow, I do feel like there are quite a few masculines now that are finally being brave enough to look at their stuff and not be distracted by, well, all the distractions that are out there, right? Of kind of masking their wounds or their pain or their trauma. And oftentimes that does look like solitude, of pulling away, of not interacting as much, because now you're asking yourself the deeper questions. You're asking yourself, are these habits that I have in place, or even friendships that I have in place, or whatever, are they truly benefiting me, right? And it's pulling back from that and realizing, oh, shoot, I'm just repeating patterns over and over and over again, because you might, at a core level, really desire to have a great life and an amazing relationship with another, right? But you're not just gonna like bypass all your pain and trauma and get there.
No, don't work that way.
Like, sorry, not sorry. You're not gonna like be transported from this way that you have been living, and something is just gonna come and be like, let me pick you up and let me place you in this healed, beautiful relationship and living the most fantastic life ever. And you just got to bypass? Yeah, no, 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 no. This is what I'm trying to say is like, we need to feel our stuff. We need to. We need to confront our shadows, right? And I know a lot of people go into, trying to listen to, like, for example, subliminals and hypnotherapy. I'm not saying that doesn't work, because, by the way, I am a hypnotherapist, but I just don't do that work anymore because I believe in embodiment. That's like, to me, that's the foundation. That's the foundation, because if your nervous system is healed, if your nervous system has expanded enough to receive, nothing will ever break that. Nothing, right? And and so what is currently going on for even women too, but I was just tapping into the masculine collective, is like, they're being brave enough to look at their demons and their shadows so that they can heal. They can move into more of a happier lifestyle and a more healed relationship, right? Because I'm sure you even know this, Margaret, is like, if we are familiar with something that is toxic, like an unhealthy relationship, unhealthy lifestyle, even if we don't like it, we know it's wrong, our nervous system, our subconscious mind, everything is so used to that we end up repeating that. We end up being attracted to that because even if it's toxic, it's familiar. So if it's familiar, it equals safety, right? And so even if men or women meet a healthy person, you'll self-sabotage it because your nervous system is saying, wait a minute, this isn't good for me. I'm not used to this. This is too good to be true. You will self-sabotage it, which is why I'm saying you can't bypass it. You're not going to be picked up and transported and placed into this wonderful, beautiful, magical life of having it all if you didn't do the work. You didn't feel your shit. you know? And I know when I say that, Margaret, for a lot of people that can be so triggering. They're like, what do you mean? What do you mean? I have to feel my shit. Yeah, you have to feel your shit. Like, there's there's no way around it, right?
You're right. You're right, because we keep repeating the same thing over and over and over again, and then we wonder why we get the same results. It's called insanity.
Yes. Right? Right? And we think, okay, well, maybe if I just change this one little thing and then maybe no, no. Like, you know what? I'll share this, and this is part of my story, right? Like, so again, I've kind of always been on this path. I've been a life coach. I've worked with life coaches. Like I said, I've done two separate hypnotherapy certificates. I was a like I've walked that path, and I've, because it started a long time for me, but it was one of my, I think it was my second long-term relationship where I was like, why do I keep attracting the same person? Right? And then I started doing the work on that. I started working with people and being like, oh, snap, I'm dating my father in a way. Like, I was like, no, this is so weird. And I kind of, I did work around that. But ultimately, without spending too much time talking about this whole path, because honestly, I feel like if I were to talk about my whole path, it would be a very long thing. But I entered a relationship that I guess you could say was different, more safe, in a way, but still, s- still not there. It was just from a different perspective, right? It was a different template, and anyway, we're kind of building a life that on the outside, and maybe you guys will resonate with this. On the outside, it looked good. Like, if anybody on the outside were to look at the life, they would be like, "Oh yeah, it's like they're a good couple. They have a house. This," and like they would think, "Okay, it's a what's there to complain? Why aren't you grateful for it?" But for me, there was something missing. I felt it at my core. Um, yes, I had like all my basic needs, and yes, a little bit of surplus and this and that, but I was even starting to question, like, why aren't I happy? Like, what's, I don't, like, I was like, I don't understand. We have all these things. We have, I guess you could say, the blueprint of what we're given of like what happiness is, of, what you should achieve and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, man, I'm not happy in this, like, what, and I was like, "What's wrong with me? Da, 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 da." And anyway, I remember I was out on a hike, and I got to the point of complete surrender, and I remember I, like, threw my hands in the air. I actually spoke this out loud because I really don't care. No one was around me, but I was like, "You know what? I give up. If this blueprint of the life that I'm currently living is not for me and like my highest good of like what I was brought here to do and who I was, supposed to be with, and all these things. And I was like, you know what? I surrender. I was like, please take it away from me. If it means that my marriage ends, then it ends. If it means that I lose the house, I lose. Like, I was in that state where I'm like, take it all so I can understand and be like put on the right path. And that's literally, oh, the divine heard me. The divine was like, message sent, received, and get ready. Get ready, because your whole life, everything is just in fire. Like, everything went down. And yeah, I had to grieve it. But you know what? I actually started to find like the true meaning of happiness, the true meaning of like coming back into myself, coming back into my heart. Um, being happy with like really the simple pleasures in life, and understanding that like what a blessing it is just to kind of wake up and have a slow morning, perhaps, or just enjoy your coffee, or even the current relationships, friendships that you have, and actually being present with them, right? Because for my ex and I, we weren't really present in each other's lives. It's like we were together, but we weren't together. You know what I mean? I felt very much alone in that relationship. And I was like, okay, so sure, you can have people in your life, but if you're not present with them, are they really there?
Yeah.
Right? They're if you can't be present with them, they're not there. They're just a body taking up space, right?
Right.
And I do think for a lot of people, this is kind of what they've either been going through or they will be going through, because I think we are starting to tap into what the fundamental truth of happiness is, of what love is, of what joy is, of what community is, of what abundance is, right?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you for hyping me up, Margaret. I love it.
Go on. Well, I'm gonna say this. Leon said, John 14:6, Jesus answered, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Yes. Okay. Yes. So, why healing matters is because unanswered wounds distort your power, your presence, and the legacy you leave. Okay.
Yes.
So there was a 2022 study found that leaders who reported high self-awareness and somatic regulation also reported higher team trust scores. Okay. Also, 2023 article in Psychology Today described the father wound as the epidemic affecting emotional health, relationships, and even social systems.
Wow.
Think about it. Because we're taking all this trauma into these organizations where we work. Okay?
Yes.
And then you wonder why these organizations are so toxic. And when you give a person a little power, it goes to their fucking head.
Yep.
Does
Yep.
it not?
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's basically it's little kids in adult bodies. Basically, that's what it is, right? And then these so-called leaders, they're just wounded little boys and wounded little girls operating from that place, right?
She hit me. She cut me or whatever. Yeah, we are basically adults acting like children. You're right, because I had this supervisor, and every time he got mad, he kicked the garbage can, and he was having temper tantrums. I was like, look at him. Once he have a kid, he and his kid gonna have temper tantrums together. Isn't that cute?
Oh, Jesus. Well, you know what's funny is kids do mirror us, right? Kids mirror parents.
They do. And then we'll go over there, we'll see somebody we working with, and they're over there falling out in the middle of the floor or having some kind of, I'm like, look at this fool over here. What's wrong with them? Get yourself together. It ain't that deep.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I have meltdowns too, so I can't talk. But I recognize it. When I recognize it, I was like, well, let me go outside and give me some fresh air, because this is not going to work. Okay? I got to do something instead.
Mm.
Okay? Self-awareness is key.
Yeah. Yeah. And someone said, and I agree, we remain stunted in our emotional development. Yeah. Yeah. That's what trauma is, right?
Yes, absolutely. Now, healing the mother wound frees you from the script of having to earn love and opens the way to receiving it. Okay, I can tell you right now, when somebody offering me something, it's like, okay, what is it that you want from me?
Really?
Because people don't give you something for nothing. It's something an ulterior motive. This comes from my childhood. Okay,
Yeah.
you see what I'm saying? I'm okay with giving, but then I get tired of giving, and then I'm like, well, I want to receive.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's like, okay, it's what do you do? It's like, okay, I don't know.
So wait, I'm curious, how is that currently for you, Margaret? Are you better with that or you're still working with it?
Baby steps. I
Mm.
still haven't severed the past. I still haven't severed that cord. Okay, I haven't. And that's probably another topic of conversation. How do we break the cord? Okay, so we can be free from that crap, leave that shit in the past, and move on to become our whole selves.
Have you worked with your little girl inside?
Well, that's a good question because that's a good place to start. She's hurt. She's feeling abandonment. She's feeling this abuse. She's feeling no love, no everything that you can think of, she's feeling. And she needs to be held. She needs to be loved. And that's where it needs to start. You're right.
So that's an invitation for you to be that mom that she never had. And Margaret, it is a painful thing, I will tell you. And you're going to experience rage, tears, whatever she needs to express. And by the way, guys, this is how you do it. Like, you have to feel it. You can't mask it. You can't use your distractions. It's going to hurt. It has to hurt. You have to feel that pain in order to alchemize it. And when you hold her and like Margaret, when I was really doing this, because it's really interesting, my inner child doesn't come out as much anymore because I'm living as her now.
Mm.
People can actually you become very magnetic when you tap into this, by the way. So, but when I was still working through this, you can feel obviously when that comes up in you, right? And I would just like place my hand on my heart and I would be like, okay, all right, baby girl, what are you feeling? What's up? What's because sometimes we get so disconnected from our emotions that we don't even know why we're feeling it, right? And I'll tell you this, guys, is like sometimes you don't need to know why. Sometimes you won't have an answer, but that's okay. Feel it. Sometimes it comes later, right? And I invite the feeling, and you feel the pain, you cry, and then I tell her all the things that she needs to hear in that moment of like, you're safe, you're this, you're worthy, you're like whatever she needs to hear, right? And you go through it. It's like that inner storm in you, right? I always use the example of like Mother Earth, right? She experiences sunny days. She experiences stormy days, right? Those are our emotions. That emotional state is always in motion, right? So it's like and you know what, Margaret? Sometimes you have to do this quite a few times, right? Of healing that, of telling your inner child that she's fine. And also what I wanted to say is, what are you doing for yourself so that you can receive your own love? Because it starts with self.
Well, I set boundaries, okay? And which is one thing is good. And to stand in uncomfortableness and keep it real, always keep it real with myself, even if it's uncomfortable.
What about the feminine aspects? That what I mean by like self-love and self-care.
Well, now that I'm retired, that's my sole purpose, really.
That's good.
Okay, when I got rid of that job, that put myself first.
Good. I mean, no, that's a start.
that was the brunt of my stress, the brunt of the trauma that I faced, with exception of the past, which I have still trying to deal with. Okay, it's just so much.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. But that's the work, right? Like that's the work of being with it, feeling it. And what I've learned is also healing is cyclical. It's not a linear process. Things will come back. We will have to revisit things over and over again. But what I've learned is that it's less like triggering. It's less like it's easier to deal with when it comes back, right? And you're like, "Oh, okay, interesting. This wound is back. Okay." Well, like yes, you feel it, but it's easier to go through it, right? And yeah, like ladies, for those of you and Margaret as well, like I really, because I also was like not really giving myself love. I found more pleasure in giving than receiving, right? But that starts with also just like when a person does compliment you or give something to you, just you need to get in the habit of just being like, yes, okay, thank you, and just leaving it at that, right? Um, but it also means like you pouring back into yourself. So you finding you know, the luxury and the self-care and self-love in choosing yourself fully of like perhaps going to that restaurant that you've always wanted or taking a bath or taking a dance class, right? Creating art, dancing in the middle of the kitchen. Why not? And actually, you know what, Margaret, have you done any like work with your own rage, expressing that in a safe way, obviously?
Yeah, well, I did a lot of that in notes. um,
In what?
and
Sorry.
in notes, in Substack notes. I
Oh,
did that. Yeah, because you get these random thoughts and everything during the day, and it's like, okay, how can I release this? Because I don't have my punching bag anymore. I gave that away. Okay, so I'm like, what can I do instead? So I can do some exercise. I can listen to music. I can do meditation. So I come up with different things that I can do to release things and bring me back to the present moment. Always find a way to come back to the present moment, even through a simple breath exercise. Okay.
yeah, yeah. But I would invite, like, because I there are some women that they get. We've been programmed. We've been programmed that we always have to smile. We always have to be nice. Women are made to be seen and not heard, and we can't raise our voices. And if a man smiles at us, we need to like no, no. Women are like we're very powerful, you know. And then again, this is not to say that men aren't. I'm sure the healed men know that like we all have our roles, right? And that's the beauty in the polarities that we are in. Yes, we have access to both. Yes, we should integrate both. Yes, we should be balanced in both of our polarities. But ultimately, when we're in these bodies, we have a certain expression of the feminine or the masculine, right? And it's very actually therapeutic for women to tap into that rage in a safe way. That means screaming in your pillow or, hitting your pillow or, like you said, punching bag. Even listening to music with drums, because that drumming can get so like charged, right? And then letting your body express however it needs to express that movement. And like when I was doing this work of like feeling that rage, because by the way, women, the rage lives in your DNA. When your ancestors before you were hung, exiled, burned for speaking out, or perhaps they were medicine women, that lives within us. And when we tap into that, when we work with that energy. I have actually felt this myself. I felt my own ancestors channeling through me of all their anger, of how suppressed they were, of how controlled they were, and I had to move through that. And it was afterwards I cried because I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's such a deep-seated thing within us," right? And so women are the full spectrum. We're not only these beautiful, nice, soft, delicate flowers made to be looked at and smelled and, no, we're also the freaking thorn on that flower. You know? We're also the thunderstorm, the tsunami. We're literally Mother Nature embodied, right? And when I started to accept the full spectrum of myself, oh my god, Margaret, ladies, you become so magnetic. You become so magnetic and powerful. You tap back into your life force energy. And it becomes such a freeing thing. This is what makes women women. This is what makes women, back into, I don't know, all of a sudden you see her dancing in the middle of the kitchen and enjoying herself and, oh my god, it's the most beautiful thing ever, right? And then she gets to be more expressive and she taps into creating art and, oh, it's a very healing healing thing. And I get men have their own process of that as well, right? Of holding these containers, of expressing what they're carrying and what they're feeling, and their own kind of suppression as well, you know? Um, but yeah, it's about feeling it all, really.
Yes, yes. I'm gonna see if there's some more questions here or comments. Uh Carl said never doubt yourself. Um the advocate for the spirit said it's earned. Uh we're not here for the expectations of others. Correct.
Mm.
Lamar said yes, we remain stunted in our emotional development. Oh, you saw that.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, a little in saying in Spain, the man is the head, but the woman is the neck. Carlos was saying. The group known as Three Steps from Hell has the emotions that give me my fight. As the kid of the spirit said. Ria, that's generally triggers a dark night of the soul. Oh, that's what. Okay, all right. So, does anybody have any questions for Alexandra? This has been a very interesting conversation. Okay, and I am so glad to have reached out to you because I could feel that our connection, the energy, was definitely a match. Okay, and
Yeah.
yes, for sure. So, what I would like to say, if something in this landed, lean into that impulse. Okay, so some corrective actions we might can take is say no to something you usually say yes to. Receive one compliment without deflecting. Okay. Sit in silence for 5 minutes and ask yourself, what does my younger self need right now? Tell one adult the truth you've hidden behind. I'm fine. And when you're not, speak your truth. Okay? Healing isn't about rewriting the past. It's about reclaiming your future. Your next version starts now. You're done enough surviving. Now it's time to start living.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. Yes, I love that. Love that. It's the whole reclamation of all the lost and hidden parts of yourself. And it's like, can you be brave enough to feel all that? Feel all of that of what your inner little child couldn't feel. Because that's what sets them free. Right?
We deserve that.
Your inner little child deserves that, right?
Yes.
And that's when you can start living a completely different life, a more embodied life, a happier life, a more fulfilling life, because you're living finally from your truth. Right? You're no longer
Yes.
going to overextend yourself or overgive or overpour to anyone, which is why in the beginning, you first kind of have to take all your energy back from everything, and becomes a very like hermit kind of life. But it's only temporary, right? It's like you have to reclaim all that energy kind of back and then reassess and reestablish and heal and start rediscovering yourself, remembering who the heck you actually are before the world told you, do this, be this. This is what a man is. This is what a woman is. No, it's all an illusion that keeps you trapped in the same hamster wheel that they don't want you to get off of. Right?
That is so true. Okay? Absolutely. This has been truly powerful. I can't tell you, okay? It is. Thank you so much.
I'm glad it resonated, and truly I hope it helped you guys. I hope you got something. I know I tend to go into like different directions because I just honor the energy that comes through me, and I just trust that that's what's needed. So I know that there's so much more like we can always unpack and unlayer and explore, but yeah, I hope this helped in some way, shape, or form.
It did, and hopefully we can have a conversation in the future down the road. But this has been a blessing. Thank you so much, Alexandra, and thank you all for coming as well. And enjoy the rest of your day.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. All right. Bye-bye. Bye.